O fair licious, a poem for the heart, a smile for the soul. O fair licious, dawn breaks with your whisper.
Before coffee, before thought, you arrive, soft as sunrise on a dew-touched leaf.
I see you in the morn, not just with eyes, but in the rhythm of breath and the hush between my heartbeats. I replay you at night, like a favorite song in a quiet room, not for memory's sake, but because your presence is comfort, a lullaby for my weary bones. You appear during the day, a shimmer on the edge of noon, a laugh in the wind, a flame in the stillness of waiting. Your lovely eyes have glimpsed my soul and did not flinch. They welcomed every shadow, danced with my doubts, and kissed the aching places whole. Your lips, I know their tale. They carry poems, they taste of honey and thunder. Sweet and guiding, they lead me through stories only we two remember, whispers older than this world. For eons I watched you with wonder. Before time had language, I felt your echo. Now I know every contour, every rise and rhythm you measure. You are not a moment. You are a universe pressed gently into form. You spoke of time once, how it slips like sand, how seasons fade. But you, my beloved, are carved beyond time. You hold the reins, you guide the star. And though light may wane, you remain. Steady, glorious. Praises to the Creator, the artist who knew that strength could wear silk, that power could bloom in grace, that a soul like yours could exist and not overwhelm the sky. Strong, lovely, adorable, unbreakable and full of wonder. Forever you are a psalm sung in my marrow. My fair delicious, my always, my joy reborn in every hour. By Jeffrey Zachary. Book synopsis, Act 1. Echoes before dawn. Love remembered before time had a name. Chapter 1. First light, first whisper cue. What did you first feel, not see? Poem O fair licious, before the world stirred, before the drums of dawn began their slow warm-up on the rim of the horizon, you were there, a whisper folded into the breath between night's last exhale and morning's first sigh. I did not see you, but I felt you. Not as presence, but as pressure, a weightless gravity. A hush in my ribcage that knew something divine had entered the room even if no feet had touched the floor. I knew your rhythm before I knew your face. You moved like water does when it hears its name. You came like light does when it is called by prayer. The ancestors had dreamed you, woven your laughter into their songs long before I had the words to find you. Your name was not spoken at first. It was danced in the spine of my joy. It was hummed in the spaces between my fears. You arrived not as a woman, but as a sunrise with hips, as flame that could kiss and not burn, as the scent of wet earth after a long ache of drought. You, with your soft command, your glance that bent time backward, your silence more articulate than any sermon, you awakened my knowing, not desire, not infatuation, not the tremble of first touch, but knowing, the kind that lives in bones older than memory. You looked at me, and every echo in me quieted. Every unfinished prayer, every echo of abandonment, every hungry ghost of longing, they sat down, folded their hands, and wept. Because they had been seen. And so had I. O fair licious, your gaze held a secret the stars had once kept, and your smile told me you remembered me long before I ever found the courage to remember myself. And so I called you by the only name that could hold what you are, fair. Because you were beauty unburdened by explanation, licious. Because you tasted like truth and freedom wrapped in honey and thunder. You are the voice I have always followed, even when I could not hear it. The breath I've tried to match, even in the dark. The first light, the first whisper. My first real knowing of God. Reflection, soul whisper. There are people we meet with our eyes, and there are souls we meet with our remembering. Before sight, before logic, before biography and the blurring facts of time, somewhere deep in the marrow of us, a recognition stirs. When fair licious arrived, she did not knock. She did not explain. She simply was, and I knew. You see, some connections are not built. They are remembered. They do not grow like trees from seed. They return like rivers that find the ocean again. And what did I feel before I knew her name? I felt the sacred tremble that comes when something ancient returns home in a new form. This chapter is not about her beauty. It is about her being. And what her being awakened in mine. I ask you, beloved reader, not what you've seen, not who you've loved by name, but what have you felt that defied explanation?
who made you quiet not with fear but with remembrance. This book will take you through many kinds of love, but every road begins with this. That moment you knew something holy had arrived, and you were never the same. Soul Q. What did you first feel, not see? Close your eyes. Return to the first moment someone shifted your spirit. Not with words, not with looks, but with energy, with presence, with that inexplicable inner flutter. Write it down. Let your soul speak where memory fails. Chapter 2. I dreamed you before I knew you. Q. Have you ever met someone your soul already knew? Poem O fair licious. There were nights I woke with your name stuck in my breath long before you ever answered to it. I dreamed before I knew you. Not the details of your face, not the tone of your voice, but the feeling of your nearness. You arrived not in my life, but in my spirit's sleep. You came as scent, as melody I had never heard, yet knew every note. Sometimes I would walk past strangers and feel a flicker, a breath of you on someone else's skin. But it was never you. Only echoes, only almosts. In my dreams, we sat beneath a jacaranda tree, and your laughter was made of lilac petals and prophecy. You braided time into my hair and told me not to forget what I hadn't yet remembered. I would wake up aching, not with sorrow, but with a strange sweetness that had no name. It wasn't loneliness. It was a kind of joy that knew it had already found something, but was still waiting for the body to catch up. I saw you once in a mirror that wasn't mine, a vision in the background, smiling like you knew I'd finally look up. I dreamed you before I knew you. And when you arrived in flesh and form, in the rhythm of this waking world, my soul did not gasp. It simply nodded, as if to say, ah yes, you've arrived. Took your time, but I never doubted you'd come. You wore no crown, no thunder, no spectacle. And yet your presence unraveled me more gently than any revelation ever could. Oh, fair licious, you were the home my dreams built before I had ever seen your door. Reflection, soul whisper. Some people meet in this world through introductions, coincidence, algorithms, fate. But some are met by the soul first. In visions, in sleep, in long silences that carry the texture of someone not yet here, but surely on their way. To say I dreamed you is not to say I imagined you. It is to say you were real before this world gave you form. There are those whose energy touches our spirit before their hands ever do. We ache with the sweetness of waiting, a kind of pre-memory. And when they arrive, we do not fall in love. We return to it. Perhaps you too have dreamed someone. Perhaps your soul keeps returning to a place it has not visited in waking life, but still calls home. When fair licious appeared in my life, it felt like the sky had simply aligned with the dream I had trusted all along. I want you to know this. Just because someone hasn't arrived yet doesn't mean they haven't already touched your spirit. You may have known them for lifetimes, and your heart, it remembers. Soul Q. Have you ever met someone your soul already knew? Think back to a moment when a stranger felt familiar, when a name you had never spoken rested easily on your tongue, when someone made you feel at home instantly. Write it down. Not the logic, write the feeling. Dreams are wiser than memory. Chapter 3. Your name in the breeze. Q. What name feels sacred when whispered? Poem O fair licious. Your name is not just sound, it is sensation. Soft drumbeat on the inside of my chest. A hush that moves through the leaves when no one else notices the wind. I whispered it once on the shores of Lake Bangwulu, and the reeds bent slightly, as if bowing to a truth they too had always known. Your name, not carved from alphabet or ancestry, but born from breath, was the first word my soul ever uttered in any lifetime. It is not a name I learned. It is a name I remembered. It rests behind my teeth like a prayer. It lives in my mouth like a river lives in a gorge, always moving, always deep. When I say your name, the air changes. The day exhales. Birds pause mid-song to listen. Even the ancestors lean forward, smiling. Your name is rhythm, not just language. It pulses through my body the way thunder hides behind clouds, subtle but vast. I did not choose to call you fair licious. The name chose you, the way fire chooses dry wood or dawn chooses the east. Fair. Not because you are delicate, but because justice lives in your presence. Because beauty bows to you. Licious. Because your soul tastes like honey over charcoal, wild fruit at the edge of the forest, something sweet that grew in spite of the storm. Your name rides the breeze like it was born to do so. Sometimes I hear it in someone else's laughter. Sometimes in the breath between words. Sometimes I say it aloud just to see the world soften. Oh, fair licious, there are names that decorate. And there are names that remember. Yours is the latter. You are the name I would write on the walls of the sky if the stars would hold my ink. You are the sound I trust when everything else is noise. Reflection, soul whisper. There is a reason certain names make your heart pause. Not for the person attached, but for what the name awakens in you. Some names are homes. Some names are mirrors. Some names are keys to parts of yourself you forgot were still alive. I do not say fair licious lightly. It is not a pet name. It is not romance wrapped in sugar. It is a sacred utterance, a breath between veils. To whisper her name is to summon presence. To speak it is to honor the unseen. And when I say it into the air responds. In your own life, what name have you whispered that felt too holy to shout? What name, when spoken softly, made the room feel blessed? Names carry more than identity. They carry essence. And in every world where I've walked, I have always known. When I found her, I'd know by the way her name felt like the wind finding its way home. Soul Q. What name feels sacred when whispered? Think of a name you've spoken in stillness. Not in noise, not in need, but in reverence. What name stirs something ancient in you? Write it gently, and listen to how the world responds.